Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome back to Cool, Cool, Cool. Each week, I give you a glimpse into what I think is cool and chat with a ton of people that are definitely cool. No topic is off bounds unless, I guess, it's not cool. Welcome to Cool, Cool, Cool. Honestly, we're giving like Powerpuff Girls.
We are. It's giving like sour gummies or like Skittles, I think, right now. I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to
me.
have you here. There's so much to talk about.
There is.
Golf, your engagement, all of your hosting. You're so hot. Fiance is so hot. I can say that because I'm married. I just hit 10 years of being with my wife.
I saw. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
5
amazing.
years married in October, but 10 years together. That's a long time.
That is beautiful. No, I love that.
It is beautiful. It is crazy. I don't know where the time went. It just went like poof. Where did you meet your fiance?
So this was, I think, like two years ago or so now. And my agent one of the people on our team before, he's another talent in our world. He's like a trick shotter as well. And he happened to be a friend of my now fiance. And we were working together, doing some trick shots and fun filming. And she, Ashley, who's my fiance, slid into his DMs. So shout out to Coach Rusty. He's the best. And he does golf art now. And
what is golf art? Like where he paints the ball?
Legit.
Oh,
legit that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really sick, actually. Yeah, so plug in for him. You're welcome. And so she slid into his DMs and said, "When are you going to introduce me?" And he was like, "Oh my God, bet." And he was like, "I'm like, Coach, why didn't you introduce us sooner? Like the one lesbian, you didn't think of like me, like I'm your bestie, and this is the one other girl, And so she slid. He connected us, and she lived in Florida, so we did long distance for the first few months, and
long distance talking, or you immediately started dating?
Long distance talking. For I mean, it's fast in normal life, but it's slow in like gay life. We were long distance and talking for like a month or a month before we met in person. I flew. I was on a travel streak, and I was like, I'm just gonna bop to Florida. I'll just come over to Florida. I'm already halfway through the U.S. Met up with her, and it was like instant. I knew the first moment that I saw her smile that I was like, I don't think there's another smile that I want to see again. And I was like sick. I got hit by a luggage on the way out. I remember thinking like, what am I doing?
What do you mean you got hit by a luggage?
Like someone pulled the luggage and it dropped on my head. And I'm like, please don't. I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen.
Oh my God. Traveling is terrible now.
Traveling is rough. And I'm more on a plane than in my home. And I met her. We hit it off. And then 2 weeks later, she said, I'm going to book a flight. I'm going to see you in 2 weeks or less. And in those 2 weeks, we asked each other out. Like almost simultaneously. It was like done. And then now here we are.
When you know.
I truly believe that now. I think everyone goes through that until they find their person that you're like, oh, I just don't think it'll ever happen. And I'm like, no, this is it.
I at least knew that I was going to be with Rachel for a long time when we met, like on our first date. I was like, oh yeah, this is happening.
That's so
cool.
Sure. Wait, how did you guys meet?
I used to host a concert series in Santa Monica, and she happened to be there in the audience with a bunch of friends for a concert, and I was on stage, and she, I guess, said I was cute. And back then. And my friend messaged me and said, hey, like, we want to come backstage. And also my friend thinks you're really cute. But I was dating a guy, and then I had hooked up with this girl. Ooh, don't worry about it. This was my 20s. And they both came.
Okay.
At the same time. And so I was dealing with a lot of drama backstage.
Got it.
Because I was really throwing the cat around back then in my 20s. And I was like, please don't come back here. And then we exchanged numbers. We started texting a little bit. We met a couple days later, and then that was it. We've literally been together ever since.
And you just knew.
I did. Yeah. I was like, she's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, she's wonderful. And I can say this many years later, all of those cheesy tropes that you hear, like marry your best friend or like marry a real partner or whatever it is completely true.
Mm-hmm.
You will go through so many different things, from deaths to sickness to job losses to job wins to like your confidence changing to you growing as a person.
Right.
I would say in a 10-year span that it is important to be with someone that you there's that foundation of just like complete admiration and mutual respect.
Right.
Because you can like be attracted to anybody. Like I'm attracted to everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's normal.
Yeah.
You know what's weird to me is when people are like, oh yeah, like you're married or whatever. Like nobody in the world is hot to you anymore. Like that's not real.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
For sure.
I mean? So I think having that real respect and just like you just love them, you love their smile is really important.
Yeah. No, she's
exciting.
She's the best. Like I literally, like she is my best friend. And I think the one thing, or I hope when people like are watching our stuff, at least on social, that they see that. So when people, whenever someone comments and they say like, we can feel your love through the screen. And I'm like, I hope so, because we don't ever want to be one of those couples that are just like, doing, just pretending everything is fine. And I'm like, I wouldn't share her if I didn't feel like things were great, Yeah.
So. Don't go on lesbian TikTok.
Yeah. Shit's wild over there.
What's happening over there? Because I'm like relatively new to TikTok, but I went on, I'm like, whoa. There's some lady on there talking about, hey, pumpkin. And she was with Jenna Jameson and now they're broken up. And then there's this other woman from the South who's pretty funny, who was with another girl and they got married and they had a TikTok marriage. They just broke up.
Yeah.
Then there was another professional athlete situation. We don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah.
They, I hope, broke up.
I don't know.
I don't know what's happening over there, but it is chaos.
It's messy. I like to watch from afar. I never want to be a part of it.
No.
I'm really shook about it. I talk to all my other gay friends. I'm like, did you see this? Did you see this TikTok? But I'm like, yeah, I'll never be in it.
Yeah.
But I just cannot hear about it.
Yeah. But it is wild.
It's wild.
I was like, what's happening over here? Yes. It feels very, it feels like the drama one would find in a over sunscreen dirty pool at a lesbian convention in Florida.
This is very specific, but I do agree.
Do you see I do see
this. I do see this.
I'm like, whoa, a lot of barbed wire tattoos. It's a lot. Talk to me about golf. When did you first start playing golf?
Yeah, so golf has been a part of my life for a really long time. I started at 3, started competing at 7.
But hold on, we have to pause.
Okay.
Like a lot of proteges, like a lot of incredibly hardworking athletes, 3 years old, it's always like, I started cooking at 3 and like now I'm like, I am a chef. Or it's like, Renee, I picked up a racket when I was 3 and now I'm like an Olympian.
Yeah.
At 3 years old, I think I was tra-la-la-la-lying, trying on outfits and like, I don't know, in nursery school. Like,
right.
Who put the
golf club?
That's it. Yeah, we know sports here.
Yes.
Who put the golf club in your hand?
My pops did. And so firstly, he really wanted a boy and then I happened. And then he was like, well, I really want an athlete. And so he made me one. And he was actually a big tennis addict at the time. And he was introduced to golf by my uncles who taught him tennis. And instead he caught the golf bug. And if you ever hear about the golf bug, when you catch it, it's just like an addiction.
But why? Why? Because my father has that golf bug where you could be in that house. If someone is awake in the house, the golf channel is going at full volume, which is interesting considering the fact that the golf channel technically is pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like, all right. And then he steps up to the mound or the
traditional
plate.
Broadcast.
And then we're quiet. Oh, he hits it. Oh, and you're like, what? It is. And so, but full speed. He loves golf, almost died on a golf course, but didn't.
Wow, okay.
Who knew? What is the golf bug?
So the golf bug is essentially when you catch the addiction to playing the game. And it really comes not from necessarily watching it. It comes from trying it. And have you played before?
I have a little bit. I did try at Bunker Club, which we talked about.
We did.
Shout out to Hillary.
Yeah.
No.
I've
I've driven the golf cart.
Okay, that's great. Have you been to Top Golf?
No.
Really?
What's that? Oh,
Top
where
Golf.
You go in Koreatown and go.
No, not K-Town. Okay.
Oh.
It's like it's basically bowling, but for golf. You can have drinks, you can eat, and it's like a 3-layered driving range. It's netted.
That's not in Koreatown?
That's maybe I think you're talking about a different range. No, Top Golf is like way cooler.
I'm talking about like a real round the way Koreatown range.
Yeah,
that's how I get
a little
down.
different. Yeah.
Top Golf sounds funsies.
It's way more fun. You can
here in LA?
Yeah, there's two. There's two locations. They're fantastic. It's a great way to get people into golf. It's just like, you want to try a shot? Great. There's golf clubs for you. You want to have a drink? Go have a drink. Like it's a cool environment. You can even go on dates there. It's like,
okay.
It's cute. Yeah.
All right.
It's like cute. And you can be bougie if you want it to.
Okay. We love that.
Yeah.
On this show.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So your pops really got the bug.
That's where we're at. Yes. So my pops got the bug. And that's what I was saying. It's like when you try golf and you hit that one solid shot, that is where like the addiction comes, because it's so hard to hit it solid and consistently all the time. But when you get it one time, everyone believes this. They believe that, I can be a pro. Like I can make this happen. And then you just go into this ongoing cycle for years and years to come, from when you begin to when you can hardly walk anymore, of trying to master a game that's just impossible to master. And I'm sure many other sports talents feel the same way about their sport. Like you can't master it, but golf is just different. There's something different about it. And it really does coincide a lot with life connections, relationships, just like life meanings. Like you learn patience, you learn all these different things in golf that like I'm not sure other sports can really teach you. Like you really learn a lot about yourself when you play the game, when you get into it. So I think that's where the addiction comes in.
Patience?
You learn patience. You like, let's say a lot of business and wheeling and dealing is done on the golf course.
I know. That's why I'm trying to get in the. I got to because I got to get this money from these guys.
Exactly. And so when I'm on the course and I'm playing around with, let's say, a potential sponsor, partner, or let's say someone I need to impress, whatever it is, I can probably tell within the first maybe 4 or 5 holes if it's someone I even want to be around. You get to see them, how they react when they're frustrated. You get to see their sportsmanship. You see their patience. You see how they treat the people around them. You just see so much. Without having to do this whole like, let's talk and let's see your facade, let's show me your best parts. Like golf really brings out a lot of things that you want to know about them, like right off the bat.
Interesting.
And I think that's one thing that people don't really get to see unless they're in it and they try it. And I think like golf is a really, really great business tool as well. So you don't need to be great. You just need to hang. And if you can hang,
I can kick it.
Yeah, you can kick it. You can drive the car, hit a few shots, walk and talk, do the business thing, and then you're good.
So then what kind of business is a 3-year-old doing on the
right, like flashback now.
Yeah. What's a 3-year-old? ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Like what are you?
Right. I walked and I just swung a club. So it was really the way that me and my dad started bonding.
Nice.
When he caught the golf bug, he took me to the range all the time. And he was actually a stay-at-home dad for a little bit. And my mom was doing all the grinding and everything. She was, both my parents are immigrants. And so my mom came all the way and she was sponsored to be a nurse. And so
the Philippines?
From the Philippines. She did her thing. And my dad essentially did schooling to then get into the medical field as well. Shout out to all the Filipinos who just
we
all
love
in the medical field.
Hey, we from the Bay Area. Also, we from the Bay. I grew up with the Philippines. I know Escabo. I know my friend's dad is an Escabo wizard. Also, you and I saw that you followed a very, very dear, close friend of mine, Rosalind.
Oh,
so shout out to Rosalind.
Yes.
Rosalind and I are OG MySpace together.
Wow.
I'm like, I could cry.
Wow.
I was at her funeral. It was the most turned up, fun funeral I've ever been to in my life because Rosalind really, truly created so much opportunity for so many people in so many different ways.
Yeah, and especially the Filipino community.
Yeah,
especially
she really was the Pinoy princess.
Yes.
We love it. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's such a crazy story. I mean, I personally, with her and I, we've only been able to message, but anyone who I was able to talk to, like amongst, we have a Filipino community that's also in like the talent space, the Hollywood space.
Huge. I mean, the Filipino
her name
community
was always in it. Yeah.
Saweetie, shout out to Saweetie. We love her.
Yes.
Icy Princess. Yes. But I do love it. So they came over from the Philippines, and so really it was you and your dad. I love that dad. Bonding.
Yes. And so we bonded. And then from then on, he was like, at 7 years old, I'm going to throw you in a tournament. And I'm like, okay, don't know what that is.
Because you know what's interesting? What's actually not, it's cute, but I wouldn't say it's fun, is watching like little kids play sports. They just scramble all over the place. I'm right. They just scramble all over the place. Timmy's going one way. Sharon's going the other. No one's doing anything. They're just kicking the ball or throwing the bats or doing whatever. So how does in a way, it's good because in golf, you do your one shot. So everybody takes a turn.
Yes, it is an individual sport. So it is a little different. And I mean, So I'm from Illinois. So my first tournament ever, I'm 6, about to be 7. They let me play in that division, even though I was young and I was very small because the age division, I think, was 8 to 10.
Okay.
And they didn't have anything younger at the time. Women's golf or young girls golf, it just really wasn't it wasn't a popular thing. My dad wanted me to join. He thought I was good enough. I didn't know what I was getting into. I was like, yeah, Dad said so, I'll do it. I didn't know any better. And I was like, it makes Dad happy, I'll do it. And I joined and I came 4th out of 4. So I DFL'd. I came dead fucking last.
And I was like, what's DFL? Bro, you gotta talk to me about the sports stuff. I'm like...
So I came last, but I got a trophy because they served up to
because
4
unfortunately
places.
They give all children trophies.
Gave everyone trophies.
Which no one deserves. Only the top 3. You know what? We learned that in the Olympics. If you didn't make it bronze, gold, silver,
right.
you don't get an award.
Anything. Right. So
happy to be nominated.
So I got a trophy, and I remember I DFL'd. I came dead fucking last, and I thought I really hated the feeling, and I was ready to just tell my dad I'm going to quit outright. That was humiliating. And the girl who won the tournament, she's like 10, and she was like the best in Illinois. And she came up to me and she said, "Hey, you did so good, and I hope to see you next year. Like, don't give up." And I remember thinking, I'm like,
as a 10-year-old,
wow, that's pretty cool. And I came back and I won that same tournament for the next 3 years to come. I then became the top.
And you beat her? Oh, no,
she moved out. She moved
See,
to
that's why she said that to you. Yeah, because she's like, you were in competition.
Yeah. She's like, I'll go up against you later.
Yeah.
And then I then became the top junior golfer in all of Illinois. And then I just kept on going.
Regardless of gender.
For women's.
Okay.
For girls golf. Yeah. But I had to compete against the boys a lot because there wasn't a lot of girls showing up. And when I started placing against the boys when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, I was like, hey, you guys need to make a girls division because I'm playing against the boys. And they're like, okay, yeah, done. And they did it. And so, yeah, random fact is I made the girls division in the IJGA, Illinois Junior Golf Association. I think it's still a thing. And I was like, yeah, you got to make a girls thing.
That's huge.
I'm like, you can't put me up against boys all the time. They're like picking on me, giving me noogies. Like, when's the last time you heard the word noogie? Like,
I haven't.
She's like, I've never heard that word.
No, I have, but I'm like, no, because I would have probably kicked them and been like, get the fuck away from me. Wow, these noogies.
Yeah.
I hope they all follow you on Instagram. And
there you go. Now they'll know. And then after that, we moved over to California. I know it was a big family decision because they wanted me to be able to train all year round.
And where'd you move?
And so I moved to Marietta. So that's where my family's based. So Inland Empire, just an hour and a half away from here. And then I just kept on golfing. I never stopped. And then went to high school golf, collegiate golf, did the D1 thing, full ride scholarship, turned pro.
We love this.
We did the whole thing. And then in 2018, I put the bag down. So I started to put professional golf kind of on the back burner. And then I was documenting my career and when I was playing professionally. And then that's how the whole social media thing even happened. It was a complete accident. I heard about Instagram. My first picture I ever posted was like of a dog in a tutu. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is weird.
I love it.
Before word influencer or create, that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing yet. This is like 2015. I started showing my career. I'm like, this is the life of a pro golfer. This is what my practice is like. And, I'm a broke golfer trying to make it. And you have to make ends meet yourself. You have to go find your own sponsors. You have to go find, your own caddy. You got to cover your travel. You got to cover entry fees. It's all up to you. And so for me, I was like, well, what if one person in the world who's on this Instagram sees my stuff and will sponsor me? That was my mindset. I was like, maybe they're going to think, oh, wow, her golf swing has so much potential. I'm going to give her a follow and maybe I'll hit her up and maybe I'll give her some clothes and stuff. And then that's exactly what happened. And I started to get clothing sponsors. I got people offering me to give me golf clubs. And then suddenly, like in 2016, someone offered me and said, hey, would you come to this golf event and just like be the celebrity shot, go and hit shots for me at this event and make sure everyone has a good time. I'm like, oh yeah, it's easy. I can impress just like the average golfer, no problem. $500. I'm like, holy shit. I'm making money.
I'm making money. 500.
Right.
Yeah, you're making money.
Right. And then after that, I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then come 2018, I now have a following. And that's when I was like, I kind of like the idea of making money and keeping my money and not having to just be like, oh, towards a caddy, oh, towards a tournament fee and all these losses that just happen. Like it's really, really hard to maintain a professional golf career, let alone as a female.
Yeah.
When you're in the minor leagues of it and you're working your way up. Like people only see like the glamorous part, like, oh, they're on TV. Oh, they got all these patches. Like they're a NASCAR driver. There's clearly a lot of sponsors. It takes so much loss before you get there.
Incredible amount of, I mean, I even know just with like Renee, I mean, you have to pay your coaches.
Yes.
It's really,
tennis.
of course.
Same.
It's the same. It's so much money. And that's actually, it's interesting. The same thing, I have the same feelings about content. Like this all costs money.
Yeah. Cute, by the way.
Oh my God. So cute, right? But paying an editor costs money. We now as a society, myself included, we expect so much content.
Yes.
And we want to be entertained. And like, I think, you know, not to bring it totally into another world, but that's, you know, the strikes here in Hollywood were such a big deal because it's like people need to make a living wage to create content, to be a professional sports athlete, to, you know, whatever it is, make music. Like we all have to be entertained. Yeah. What are we going to do? Just sit? Ain't nobody sitting. So I think it's important to recognize how much financial loss goes into a dream of any kind or into any kind of creation. It's hard.
Absolutely. I mean, just being an entrepreneur, period. It's like, it's hard. Like, yes, you don't have to work a 9 to 5, but man, I'm working 24/7.
A hundo.
I'm like, okay, I have a 6-figure deal. Sick. How much of that is going to an editor, a trainer,
of course,
my agent, my team, my like everybody that helped, like the people that help feed me, I got to feed them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, how much am I actually seeing? But this is a dream. This is what I wanted. So it's crazy. So from professional golf, that grind of just like trying to make ends meet and whatnot. Like in 2016, I worked at a country club and I was a cart girl. And I was the only professional golfer there. And so they were like, okay, like you're our like war horse. We're going to bet on you. We're going to put money in a hat for you. They put, I think it was like $4,000 in a hat, like legitimately a hat. And I remember crying and thinking like, holy shit, I made it. Like I'm going to go out there and do this. Mind you, an entry fee for one golf tournament at the time is around $600. And then you got to go find a caddy. And then that you got to pay them $200 to $500 for a tournament or what have you, whatever your deal is, or give them a percentage
So we're
back.
at $1,200.
Right. And then you got to go drive and travel. I got to think it's a 3-day tournament. I need to get a hotel. I'm going to bunkie with 3 other girls maybe that I'm playing against and go from there. So now I have to place to break even because the entry for the winning fee at the time was only around $2,000 to win. And I remember I won my first professional tournament. And I think it's this big paycheck, huge paycheck. And I think it said $1,200. And I thought I was fucking rolling. I thought I was like making, I'm like, oh, I'm on my way to the LPGA tour. Like, look at this shit. I'm killing it. And I remember being up like $7,000 by the end of the year. And I was constantly placing. This is like, think of minor leagues, okay? This is not the one that you see on TV. This is the grind to the LPGA. And I'm one of the top in the minor leagues. And I'm up. I'm one of the top money makers on there. And I'm like kind of feeling myself and whatnot. And the next year I get hit by injury. And after 3 events, just after a minor rib injury.
How'd you get a rib injury?
When you're at the top of your swing and that transition on the down, there's a lot of torque going on. It's like your body's twisting and then you're trying to like make that transition really fast. I'm a little person trying to hit it really far. I was like maxing my potential out. And I tweaked something. It was like a nerve thing, I think. And you can't do anything especially when it's your rib. You just kind of ice it. You got to let it chill. Yeah. And that's it. And then I went through a hit. I went through personal battles. And that's a whole other story. That was like figuring my identity out. I realized I was gay while I was on tour. Then I was hiding it from my family. It was crazy. And so between all those, difficulties, that's when I was like, oh my God, my money's gone. Oh my God, I'm in debt. What do I got to do? I have social media. And I enjoy it. I'm going to create content. I'm going to show people how cool golf is. Yeah. And then that was kind of like, all right, we got to go all or nothing on this. And that was it.
How did you realize you were gay?
Oh man. Yeah, that's always a loaded question. I'll have to ask you that back.
I always knew. Janet Jackson.
I love Janet Jackson.
90210. No, I'm just, yeah. It is a loaded question. I mean, I don't know if I ever had I'll start first. Maybe it'll make you feel better. I
want to hear this. I love hearing this story.
I would consider myself, and it's so funny because I did talk about this yesterday in this very room. I always consider myself bisexual because I had great relationships with men and women, and I always found them really attractive. But I think as I got older, the desire and the emotional connection for women outweighed what I felt in terms of like attraction to men. And it wasn't easy. My mom, my dad kind of asked me like, why haven't you had a boyfriend in a really long time? I'm like, I have a girlfriend. And I was older. I was like 26 or 27. But I had been living a life with our friend Roz, working at MySpace, dating women, dating men, like very much out, but just not out to my family.
Sure.
And then my dad told my mom, which I felt awful about because he told her like on her birthday. It was just like so dramatic and it didn't need to be dramatic. Yeah. And I think, I have an out brother. So it's not like my parents were like homophobic or whatever, but I think it doesn't matter. That generation is always going to be fear, or at least my parents were fearful for my life and they don't want their kids to have a hard life.
For sure.
Is kind of what they described it to me. So it was very anxiety provoking. It was a lot. Yeah. But I just kind of, it developed over time. It did kind of take me leaving San Francisco, where I'm from, and moving to LA and sort of starting new with new friends who I didn't grow up with, who didn't know me, to feel more comfortable to explore it though. And I was like 25. So it's not like I was like 15.
Right.
But sure. It definitely wasn't easy. I've also dealt with so much homophobia in business.
Yeah.
In the entertainment business. I've been doing this for a really long time. And, I've seen the world sort of change, but it was definitely, I think any person, no matter who they are, even if their parents like say, oh, who care or whatever, embrace it, you're always going to have this anxiety in our society until things really, really change.
No, I agree.
Which is amazing that you're so visible and you can feel your love with Ashley. You know what I mean? It's important to be that way. Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah. So, I love hearing your story. And I think like I resonate with a lot of that. And I think what was a lot.
Are you an only child?
No, but I am 10 years apart from my younger siblings, 10, 13, and 20 years apart.
And I'm 10, 13. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
But then I have a brother who's like he's like 18 months, 16 months older than I am. Okay. And he's gay. So the two of us, I don't know what happened. I don't know what you were eating or what you were drinking, but the last two, queer, older two, just straight boring people.
I wouldn't call it boring, but I get it. We just like to have a little more color.
They're pretty boring.
Okay, got it.
But I love them. They're like very smart. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you are really a lot old. You were the firstborn.
I'm the firstborn, and also I'm the daughter. And I also
brothers.
Yeah, to boys. So I was like the protector. And I feel like as an eldest daughter, you go through different pressures.
I've seen the TikToks.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all true.
Is it?
Okay. It's like you're held at the highest expectation.
Got it.
You're like not allowed to date. You're all these things. And then I'm full Filipino. And so there's also like a huge cultural, foundation to that. And so, and religion, of course. And so there was a lot of additional nuances that I had to face. And at this point, I was actually with my high school sweetheart for a long time. So high school sweetheart up until 22 years old, essentially 22, 23. I'm now in my first year of playing professional golf out of college. And he was great. He's great. He's still someone that I super love and admire to this day. And I think when you have someone in your life that's been in your life for over 7 years, they just don't really they're always going to be some piece of you, I'd like to say. So he was that for me. And it really wasn't until I was put face to face with catching feelings for a woman. And it's just like, it's like no other. Like
it really is no other.
I really cannot explain to anyone what it's like when two women catch feelings for one another, let alone when it's your first. And they always say, oh, it's your first, don't you haul? And I'm like explaining to all my straight friends what that even means. Anyways, so I caught feelings for another golfer in my world. And
sounds like the plot of the new Challenger.
And oh my gosh, yeah. I actually did it. I really enjoyed that movie.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll be an EP on it.
Go watch it. Anyway, so so I caught feelings for another golfer in my world, and I really tried so hard to push it off. I knew the difficulty that I would have to go through and all the different challenges that I was going to face with family, being in golf, which is traditionally known as a more like old white male sport, right? Yep. And I'm like, well, how am I going to get sponsors if suddenly the golden girl that my family thought I was, is suddenly gay? Like, this cannot be known. So this is 2016 that I'm now finding myself out. I'm 23. And of course I went for it. I left the high school boyfriend and I did it as amicably and as clean as I possibly could. He was the first to know that I found feelings for this girl. And I said, I think this is going to be a problem. He tried to fight for me back. He had a ring ready. It would have been a very different Tish, y'all, if I was engaged at 23 to a man. So it was all meant to happen because now I've found Ashley.
Teen bride vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like too young.
Yeah, too young. It's too young. And so I chose to go for my feelings. And that was when the roller coaster of just so many emotions hit. My family initially did not take it well.
Yeah.
I was essentially kind of let go from the home. And I had to really distance myself from my siblings, which was really hard because I'm 23, they're 13 and 10. They're very impressionable. And they're probably like, why is my sister gone? Why can she not see me for a couple of years to come? And I also felt like I had to prove that I was gay. I had to make sure that I followed through with this newfound relationship with a woman.
I really understand that.
Right?
So that you didn't just jeopardize your whole
everything
life for something that wasn't real.
Right.
I really get that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Felt similarly in some ways. And I think a lot of people have gone through that where you're like, oh shit, is this a one-off? Because we're told it's a phase.
It's a phase. Oh my gosh.
And you're like, well, I got to really make sure this isn't a phase because I just blew up my whole life. And being 22, 23 years old, which is, you're still so young.
Right.
Too young to get married.
Right. No,
regardless of orientation. But I really get it. And so you're like putting all, and then your families distance themselves. Mm-hmm. So then you have the only person you can rely on is this brand new relationship with brand new feelings.
Right. That.
Oh, girl.
And it's like one of those things too. Like I'm sure you probably have gone through the ringer yourself. I feel like there's always like a couple relationships in your life that is just extremely crazy, unhealthy, tumultuous, just not the best. Like you just brought out the worst in each other. Well, of course, the first girl I dated happened to be that for me. We were just not meant to be. I needed to go through that to really be like, if the universe was like, are you sure you're gay? I'm like, yeah, dude, I went through that and my family situation. Yeah. So yes. And so in times where I was like, I really need to give up, like this is every avenue of my life is hurting. My professional golf, I had to let it go because I couldn't afford it. I'm also going through all this battles of my own sexuality. I'm exploring this new relationship. It's not working, but I'm trying so hard to hold on because I need to prove my family wrong because God forbid it's a phase. So I was going through so many different pulls in different areas. And it was really my friendships that kept me alive during that time. And whenever I've had so many people ask me this, like, like, why'd you need to come out and blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
who's asking you why you needed to come out?
Like, why is it necessary for you to speak about it? And I'm like, because I'm doing it every fucking day.
Legit.
I'm doing it every day, even in a casual, like,
who's your husband?
Yes.
Who's your boyfriend?
Well,
I don't have one.
Yeah. My wife. Yeah. So it happens every day. And I'm like, because I just wanted to get this over with. And so when I did come out, I came out, I'm so fortunate that my family came around and my mom has always been my best friend. And I truly, truly mean it when I believe that love conquers all. It's not just, love is love. No, really, love is love. And I truly believe that, those who love you will stand by you. And both my parents were a testament to that through their cultural beliefs, through their upbringings, through not really having any gay or lesbian example around them for them to know it's okay. Sure. Us growing up in Illinois, in cornfields, we were like the only Filipinos there.
Yeah.
So like there was a lot there. They just didn't know. And I was very understanding. I was pushing them to accept me, but I was also very understanding of where they came from because they just didn't have the tools.
Yeah.
And so that was like me having to take on all that and they came around, and I came out in, I believe, 2019 alongside Scratch TV, which is a media production that coincides with the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I think, the best and the biggest way I could have done it in the golf world. And it was the scariest moment for me because I'm a very feminine facing, lesbian, and I didn't know how I would receive. But I had my family backing me and my friends and my agent and my team. And I knew at that point that if all hell were to break loose for some terrible reason, I have everyone in my life. And fortunately, it was very positive. It was probably 85 or 90% positive. And then it became just like the most freeing. And I say it often, besides my engagement, it's probably the happiest day of my life. Yeah. And golf needs that,
Well, yeah, I want to talk about what you've been doing for the queer community in golf, because I think that is so important, because it's like, it is such a country club in the broadest sense. You sort of look at golf as this, really expensive sport that only old country club straight white cis men play, or like our mutual friend Becky Robinson. Shout out to Becky.
Becky, we love you.
We love. But so like, talk to me about that. Talk to me about being a Filipino woman,
yes,
regardless of being queer. Now you're a Filipino woman who's queer in golf.
Yes.
Like that visibility is so important. But what are you doing for the queer community in golf now?
So I think after coming out, it was a really unique experience, because even when I came out, I still felt very new, right? Like I came out and I overcame my personal battles. But now after I kind of got past that, it was now time to kind of like listen to other people and then look at the golf world and think like, okay, well, they accept me, but like, what about others? What are we doing to try and like amplify voices and whatnot? And I always say this about the golf world, and I'm so proud of how far golf has come, but we are always steps behind, let's say, what Hollywood is doing.
Sure.
Same
with tennis though.
Right. So sport,
a lot of sports in general, a lot of the sports are behind.
Right. Right. Especially sports that are very male driven to begin with. I think like women's soccer has come a very long way and is so amazing. Shout out to Alex Morgan. She just announced her retirement today and it was really emotional. Women's basketball has come an extremely long way and they're just so accepting and so diverse. And in women's sports, there's a good percentage of us that are a part of the community.
Yeah.
And just honestly speaking, whether they're out or not. And I think with golf, it's so difficult because in golf, you're raised to be very humble. You're raised to not be loud. You're raised to just, whether you win or lose, just raise your hand, nod, smile and wave. It's a part of the culture of golf to be very proper. And so to then have queer people in the golf world to just be like, yeah, we're gay and like back us up and all that. You're going against not just, of course, it's what's right. Like we want everyone to be equal, but you're asking for the golf culture as a whole to change. And I think that's the hardest part. And I'm just one human being. And I'm like, how do you evoke change amongst like culture that has been embedded for so long? And I thought at first I used to get emotional because I'm like, I can't do enough. Like, what more can I do? I'm like already like screaming at the top of my lungs and I share as much as I can and advocate as much as I can amongst my followers, but it doesn't reach everybody. And so what I like to do on my personal page is really just celebrate it as much as possible. I'm not a policymaker. I'm not as well versed as I know I should be, but
you're a voter though. I hope you're registered to vote.
Yes, I am. Okay. And with that, it's like I just try my best to celebrate who I am and the community around it. And I'm actually so surprised and so proud of the community that I do have, because I've had many messages from straight, white, older males that are like, I never thought to look at it the way that you do.
That's cool.
And I am because I see you. And so if I have a daughter and they say that they're gay, I want them to follow you. And I've had a number of messages like that. And to know that even if it's just a small percentage of my own following that is changing their ways, amazing.
Huge.
Amazing.
That's huge.
But as of this year, I off camera, I just gave Liz one of my
present.
A cute little gift, and it's one of my Pride Edition crew necks, and it says "In My Golf Era." It's in beautiful puff print and it's rainbow. And this year for me was really all about giving back as much as I can. So I love to give back to women's sports. I love to give back to junior girls in golf because I was up against the boys. I'm like, we need to help the girls, so I'm going to do what I can. And then I was like, well, and I got to give back to the LGBTQ plus community. And I'm really close with the Trevor Project, also really close with Athlete Ally, who are huge, just, advocates for allies and the LGBTQ plus community in the sports space. And so anything with them that I can donate or host an event and give a percentage back, that's what I'll do. And so for all the crew necks that I do sell, a percentage goes back to the Trevor Project.
Yeah, I saw that on your website, which I really love. But you have a great website, by the way.
Thank you.
I know. It's the little things.
It's the little things.
It's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. Not like me on Wix.com making my own. I have a very crazy website that I made myself, like on a Sunday. It's horrible, but don't worry about it. But I love that. And I think the visibility and the community building for both folks in the community and their allies and creating new allies is really, really so important. Like, listen, working out, sure. Love my Pilates. I wasn't really a sports girl. I was a swimmer. I grew up as a swimmer for forever and then I stopped, but that's a whole nother episode. But I think it's like kids just want to play sports. Like, and it's so important to see themselves reflected in their idols and in people who have spent their lives committed to a sport. It's such a small thing in some ways to be visible, but it's actually such a huge thing. So it's really incredible what you're doing.
I completely agree. And I think for me, when I had to sit both my parents down after I came out to them and they accepted it, and a couple of years later, and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to come out publicly. And they're like, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah, but now aren't they excited for your huge Filipino wedding?
Well, I think that was going to happen regardless, but this was back then. They didn't see Ashley now.
Holler at me. Let me tell you, a Filipino function.
I'm so glad you know.
I deeply know. Like I said, one of the saddest days of my adult life was going to my friend's funeral. What a blast. We had so much fun celebrating her life, but also being together. There was Jollibee. I was like, wow.
We love our Jollibee.
I really love that Jollibee. I was like, I don't know about this Jollibee, but I'll get down on the Jollibee. I love some adobo, lumpia. I'm like, yes, invite me over. Yes. I love it. It's the most fun. Such a beautiful culture, such a beautiful place. I'm dying to go to the Philippines.
Oh, you have to go. It's even more welcoming when you go to the island. I mean, I think that's what a lot of Filipinos are known for, is like hospitality, making sure everyone eats and whatnot. And so we'll get to the Filipino wedding. I'm very excited because every time we're like, oh, it's gonna be chill. It's not gonna be chill.
It's not gonna be chill.
I know it's absolutely
there's gonna be a bajillion people there.
You're a ton of performances.
Yeah, you're both so many performances at a Filipino function.
Dancing and singing. Probably a comedian somewhere.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden somebody's going to bust out and it's like Whitney Houston, but amazing. You're like, what? Those are actually very fun TikToks as well, where they have all of like the people doing the one song. Have you ever seen that in the Philippines?
Probably. It's
where it's like where it'll be like a whole long line of people singing karaoke and they just like one up each other. You've never seen this?
Yes, and I think they pick up where they left off.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. I'm like, I love this so deeply. It's like so wonderful. But yeah, you're gonna have a big ass wedding with so many performers. Like then the little kids gotta come out and perform. And then you're like, okay. But you're both so beautiful. I'm like, get out of here.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
we need the not to pay for it. You're welcome. Brides.com. Holler at my girl. Like, my God, let's do it.
I know. I'm very excited. But it's funny because I tell Ashley that every time she looks at me and I'm like, oh, that's funny that you have a ring and I don't yet.
But you know what's funny? My wife didn't propose back to me. I proposed to her in Thailand.
Wait, what? You proposed?
I proposed. I know you, because you didn't think it was going to be me. It was.
I'm not trying to put stereotypical, and I'm not. Yeah,
you did. You just did that. That's all right. We are.
You know what? You're
stereotypes also live within the LGBT community. Yes. I proposed to her. It was the worst proposal. I will tell you off camera because my poor listeners have heard this like to nauseum. But she never proposed back because she like didn't care about a ring.
Oh,
she wears a ring.
Okay.
She wears, I think, her great I wear my my grandmother's, and she wears her great grandmother's ring.
Okay.
But yeah,
I mean, every couple to whatever they want, to each their own, right?
And I'm such a control freak that I proposed to her with a ring pop, and she was like, "You're a psychopath." And she's like, "Well, your ring," and I was like, "Oh, don't worry, I already picked out the ring." Put a little deposit down. We can go pick that puppy up right when we get back to LA. God. Yeah, so I was crazy. But you'll get your engagement moment.
I wouldn't be surprised. So what we always say is like, so Ash asked me out first. She beat me to it by like a few hours. And so she always said, well, if we're going to propose, you should propose first. She said it jokingly. And I said, okay, I will. But when I do, I hope that you propose back, because otherwise I'm going to look like I'm single with no ring on. And you get to flaunt your ring, but I want a ring back. And she said, okay, deal. So I proposed it was August 6th was our day where I proposed to her. And it was one of the coolest days ever. I like
you were in Hawaii, right?
We were in Hawaii, and it was a brilliant surprise. She thought it was a brand trip, and it was potentially a golf and travel trip with Hilton. And little did she know that all of Hilton was behind helping me propose, and everyone's like walkie-talkie and like, she's in the spa. Okay, go out there.
God,
let's plan.
That is so anxiety provoking.
Oh
though.
Yeah, it was really stressful, and I had to hide my right hand. She's my best friend. She's my photographer, videographer, helps me schedule things. She plans everything, and I hid her for a night, and she became a best friend to Ash as well. So I'm hiding her for a night. I hired one of my friends and singer. His name is Fia, and he is an amazing singer who is from Hawaii. And I was like, we love your song. It's our song. It's been my alarm. If you have the ability, I want to fly you out and surprise.
Damn, lesbian sports balling is a different level.
It was, I mean,
y'all be balling out of control.
I went balls to the wall for this one. Yeah, I went all in. I mean, my name is literally Tisha Alyn. So I went all in. And
I will tell you, your license plate, all in.
Yeah. Yeah. You can find me on the road. I mean, don't go looking, but yeah.
Don't go looking. You can, we won't say make and model, but you can. It's like JoJo Siwa when you see her out in the streets.
Then I would assume you know, probably sparkling.
Oh, I've literally seen it twice. She has cars wrapped in her face.
Oh no, I was thinking it was like spilling glitter. It has her face on it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, don't do that.
I would never do that.
Yeah,
But anyhow, yeah, I went all out. Hid the singer for a night, hid my best friend and shooter for the night, and they all came out and we made.
And you think you're not going to have some huge banana cans wedding after this?
Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You think you'll get married in Hawaii?
Oh, I would love to. However, because there's so much family involved, I think it would be just so crazy to have everyone fly to.
Both my brothers live in Hawaii.
What? Really?
Yeah, they both live in
what island?
Oahu. Both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my brother lives in Kailua, and then my other brother lives like just north of Waikiki.
That's awesome.
I know it's random.
That's kind of random. I would love to, but I think everything is so expensive over there.
So my oldest brother got married there, and it was annoying.
Yeah, everyone is spending a lot of money, and it's I mean, in a perfect world, it would just be somewhere in California. We find
Where's
an
her
amazing
family
property.
from?
They're in Florida, but I have way more family than her, and so.
Yeah, you're going to have to do California.
Yeah, it's like California, or it's like, what if we just go to Mexico? Everyone meet halfway. The ones who love you will really show up. A little bit less rules. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I'll worry about it once I get proposed to.
Enjoy the planning process.
Yeah.
Enjoy it all. You are so lovely.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, I have so many minute questions that don't even mean a thing because I got to learn so much about your life. I was like, how does one work out to become a golf? Actually, I do have that question. Is it a lot of arm working out?
I mean, it's different. I mean, I think
walking strength. Like, what do you really? You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like you kind of get it when it comes to the endurance training for like soccer, or football.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. I think it's because I'm so engulfed in the golf world, so I completely get it. But like from the outside looking in, like you need to utilize your whole body in golf when you're thinking about the actual golf swing. Like you're trying to hit this little ball with this tiny knife of a club.
Agility.
As hard as you possibly can into the ground. So you're just like chopping it up at the ground. And so you want to give yourself as much power to that ball. So the more muscle you have, the better. But like ideally your big muscles is where you really want to have it loaded. Like your glutes, your quads, your upper back, your shoulders. Like you need everything, really.
You do.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
God, there's no days off, in the sports life.
There is
literally
no days off.
I suppose.
Yeah.
You're wonderful, and I'm so happy for what you're doing, and I'm so excited to watch your whole wedding unfold. So I was
Thank you.
Rachel's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking at all these pictures. And she's like, you're being so crazy. I'm like, look how pretty these girls are. I like kept saying that all night. She's like, oh my God.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Aunt Liz. I'm like, whatever. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Macy's has all of your Grill Master essentials for Father's Day. Stop by to get our hand-trimmed chicken breast and certified Angus beef patties that are ready to grill, so Dad can have his favorite dinner. Make sure to browse our bakery to find the perfect no-work Father's Day treat with our decadent peanut butter bars or famous donuts. Right now, you can get boneless beef ribeye steaks for $12.99 per pound at Macy's. Shop these Father's Day essentials in-store or online at Macys.com through June 18th. Macy's, happy shopping!